because that's something Cam and I chatted quite a bit about, is how you quote or how you set budgets on gigs or projects, and he's had a lot of influence from you on that. Valuing your worth. So
yeah, but also he's had a lot of free projects from me too, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Hey, I'm giving you both sides. I'm like, yes, you should charge way more, and B, when you work for me,
I'm not going to pay you. Yeah. No. Well, no, actually, you've done a lot of that for me. In the sense of you really set me on the path of big budgets and just making me feel like I could pull it off. Which was huge, because I remember we were sitting in your kitchen, in your first apartment here in Vermont, and you were like, I think I asked you, what do you think I make a year?
Okay.
And you said a number that was like about that number more than I make a year. And I was like, really? like really? Because it was a number that, I think I can share this. You said 300,000 a year.
I did?
You did.
I don't know if I would have guessed 300,000.
Okay, well, don't take it back, you jerk. I'm trying to don't choose your next words wisely. No, but you said something like, or you said something like you could be making $300,000 a year. I showed you the Envision Providence video,
right?
That I did for, I'll say, between 2,000 and 3,000. It may just happen to be right.
Hurts.
May just have to be. It may
that
be
was
right.
A great project. You should have charged like 10. For
that. So when I asked you about it, I told you the scope. I was down there for X amount of days. It took X amount of days to edit, and you were like 12.5 or don't do it again.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, here we go. And finally we're inching closer to that. But that gave me a whole lot of confidence, honestly. Of
good.
And ever since then, I don't get jobs in Vermont anymore.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, right. It isn't a lot.
He's saying your worth is 12.5 for that project with New York glasses on. I don't think those opportunities of CBS quality are around.
Yeah.
Well, give or take. So here's the thing: we have Boston. Boston's part of New England, and you can't think state lines. State lines don't matter. You can do work in any of the 50 states or other countries, and you'll be surprised how many other countries will hire American designers in a preference just because of the education that we supposedly have. So
I have a great college education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The College of YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you put all of that money that I spent in school loans, you put that into gear. And so I'm extremely jealous.
It's okay. That's why you know me.
No, that's not why I know you. Yeah. So like finding your worth. And so the other day I did a project for Dartmouth College, my first Ivy League college. That's here in New Hampshire, right next door. And the guy called me up and said they've been looking for a motion graphic designer. They really want to do a high-end spot for their alumni. And he's like, so what's your rate? How do you do it? And he wanted to hire me freelance. And I said, well, typically, this is my rate. And I gave him the New York rates. And I'm like, I'll be honest, this will be my first New England project. And so I'm not super acquainted with like an hourly freelance for a senior motion graphic artist in New England. And so we settled on 70. And I feel like it was very fair for the project we did. I ended up making almost $1,800 off of it was about a 30-second spot. And that's, honestly, I would have done that in New York for the same amount. So that was reasonable. And it was just me being willing to be transparent and saying, like, this is what I'm worth. This is what I normally charge, but I'm willing to work with you. I'm not going to take $25 an hour. I'm sorry, I don't have time, but I'll work with you to get to a place where it's going to be a win-win.
Yeah, you kind of set the bar and then was like, well, I'm open.
Yeah, and I've also heard, like, never be the first person to bring a price. Yeah, and that has worked for me as well. The gig that you came to in New York. I shouldn't have said their name.
I can take it out.
This company that you did a gig for me in New York City, we had talked originally on the phone. I had done some free work for them pro bono because they're a nonprofit. I had donated 20 hours worth of motion graphics. That was 2 years ago. Then the next year, because they're based out of London, they don't know American designers, videographers, whatever. They called me, and they said, we're looking for videographers in New York City for our lectures. And I had never shot a lecture in my life. But I said, I have a team for that. and
then a month later you met me. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Build a team.
That's basically what happened. And I just remember the initial pricing conversation went something like, well, what's your budget? Me asking them.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, well, what do you usually charge? And I bounced it back. It's like playing a little bit of basketball. You're throwing it back. And I said, well, it entirely depends on the production value that you want to bring to the table.
Smart.
Yeah.
So what's your budget? I've worked with budgets in the hundreds of thousands of dollars because I worked for NBC.
Yeah, exactly, right? I've done $1 million projects for the History Channel.
Exactly. Well, when I started doing social media, I was able to say we've had millions of engagements. Like my
millions.
Posts, my posts have been seen by millions of people because I was on broadcast. And then social media, my designs, my advertising, all of this stuff has been interacted with over 26 million times. And those were real metrics I can take because I've worked with those clients and done work with them in those areas, like History Channel, the Vikings promo stuff. 26 million people saw those campaigns that I did. So you can use those metrics when you go to sell yourself. So anyway, they came at me and said, our comfortable budget's 10 grand. And I said, deal.
Okay.
And then the next year I charged, I went up 20%. And they said it's a little bit of a stretch. And I said, okay. And they paid me.
Okay, sorry.
And then this year, because of Corona, because of contracts, and you've always given me a little bit of a hard, been a hard ass on my contract.
You and paperwork, man.
But because of that paperwork and my relationship with them, we ended up doing 1 gig and getting paid for 6.
Oh, heck
this
yeah.
year. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Contracts are nice. They can work out. They, no, I just remembered to do that New York City shoot, I had to go get an insurance policy.
Yeah. Well, I had to get a $4 million insurance.
Well, I think I got $1 million. I think I did $1 million policy.
That was a minimum for a contractor to be on the site.
Which is crazy. And again, I still have it and it's useful and I need it. So next time somebody trips on a tripod, it's fine.
Yeah.
Right. But not next time. That's never happened. Let me preface it with that. But yeah, and I think that's so valuable. And I think that was so valuable to me because there's definitely people listening who are thinking the same thing that I thought originally, which is like, you scumbag. Because it's like, what's your budget thing is very much like, it can sound like you're just trying to grab money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it takes something. It takes a conversation with you is what it took for me. And maybe it's listening to this for some people where it starts to make sense. Because for me, it totally makes sense now in the sense of like, Hollywood movies are not filmed on hourly rates. That would make no sense at all, right? They're filmed on budgets. Well, why? Because bigger budgets allow you to do more stuff. It allows you to get gear, allows you to get people. You can put more time into it, all that sort of stuff. And that's why I've completely gone for the budget model myself. I mean, I know my bottom line, as do you, right? $25 an hour ain't gonna happen, right? But
with a $30,000 red camera in your pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Which again, you can rent it from me anytime. And you have. Well, you haven't rented the camera. You've rented all the attachments.
I tried to rent the camera. You were like, "This is my baby."
Yeah, it was a little early. That was still within the first year. That was a little early.
Got his first scratch now.
Yeah, but all good. Yeah, I think that's really, really important for people to hear because a lot of filmmakers, especially in Vermont, sell themselves short, do giant projects for no money. I know lots of them.
Yeah, well, you're the problem. You're the reason I'll never give Vermont work.
Well, I don't give Vermont work anymore.
Right. Well, not you.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were talking to me specifically. I'm like, dude, I'm not the issue here. I still want to sit down every Vermont filmmaker and just be like, guys,
right,
get your crap together.
If you had a union, and like New York has all those unions, that's the why. Is that you have your bottom line, and you will not work for less than that amount, and collectively, you've all decided that. That's why unions exist. People walk out of work and say, we want these rights. Otherwise, none of us are going to work.
Yeah.
So maybe Vermont needs
I'm not going to say that we need a union, but we do need some common agreement.
Yeah.
Well, a network where you can talk about it,
Right.
You know, and networking. I want to say with your competitors, you know.
Yeah,
'cause
pretty
you're
much.
working together in such a small community. I mean, yeah, like you said, we can reach to Boston and work worldwide, but you know, out of the creative people in Burlington, it'd be nice to know your neighbors. I guess is one way to put it.
That's why we have a podcast. My
Yeah,
friend.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
why we have a podcast.
I love it.